Now, where you are is probably bedtime. Should be bedtime for me, too, but I'm not ready to go to bed. I'm here on my same old couch, same old shirt. This is a sweatshirt. Wore it yesterday. I figured I'd wear it again today, especially since it's so cold outside. You know, it even affects you when you're indoors. So same old blue glasses and the same old stringy hair. Now I know you paid me so many nice compliments about my hair, and I will have to admit it's kind of nice to just take a hairbrush and do this, this, and this, and it's done. Now, of course, I don't have my earrings on, but I'm going to tell you the reason I don't always wear earrings. I wear hearing aids, and they're the kind that go over the ear. They're the kind that if you hit them just right, you can lose your hearing aid, and you know how much those dang things cost. That's the one thing you don't want to lose. So I've got the hearing aids, then I've got the glasses that go over the ears, and if I put on earring, I have 3 things hanging around my ears. I might as well just start running little needles through my ears so I can hang on to everything. So much for small talk. But yeah, this is my sweatshirt. I don't wear it very often, but the weather's just right for it today. And I may have it on again tomorrow for all I know, as long as it doesn't start to smell. I'll figure it's good for one more wear. I don't have a subject for you tonight. I just wanted to talk. Sometimes I just want to ramble a little bit. I have been reading comments for the last 2 hours. Comments on my S&H stamps and the top value stamp. Now, when I started that article, I said I don't have much to tell because I was not big on saving the stamps. I didn't do that much shopping, so I couldn't collect them. And I just remembered a few things, but I did remember the stamp collecting very well, and I took my chances on creating something that would interest you. Really didn't think it was going to go very far. But it's a funny thing about the stories I tell. The ones that I think are the worst and say nothing are usually the ones that get the best comeback. You build a story out of the subject matter I start with. And that's exactly what you did on the S&H cream stamps and the top value stamp. You can get a tongue tangler when you start saying those words together. You know what a tongue tangler is, don't you? So, anyway, what I wanted to say was I have had the longest comments on this one subject than any other that I've talked about. It seemed to hit home with 99% of you. The rest of you too young to remember. But most of you could tell me the things you bought, where you bought them, what they meant to you, what your mother did licking those stamps. Boy, oh boy, wasn't that fun, licking those stamps. Now, I remember that too. So, that's not one you've got on me, because mine had to be licked just like yours did. And you got some pretty nice things with your stamps. Each of you had a different story to tell. It was amazing. I was sitting here reading and reading and reading, and I've never had that happen with any other subject. So when something comes along and I think, well, I'll give it a try, I never know what the outcome's going to be. And I kind of take a deep breath, waiting to see how many comments I'm going to get, and is it going to be received well? Well, this one was. I didn't have to say much. You did all of the talking. You said a lot. You went back into your memory bank and you picked up the things you remembered, the things your mother remembered, and your grandmother. You're looking around the house and you're saying, that's what my mother bought with her stamps. Isn't that nice that you've got those things? Now, you don't know how many times I've looked at that little old step stool in the kitchen that gets in my way every time I'm trying to do something. Have to move it here, have to move it there because I can't get to the cabinet. I don't use it much anymore because I don't do any climbing anymore. It's just in my way. And I think, I need to get rid of this. I don't use it. But when you get such reception on subject of top value stamp, ethnic green stamps, and how many of you bought your own step stool with your stamps, I gave it a second of thought. No, I think I need to hang on to this little step stool. It's got memories with it. It's worth keeping. It's as good now as it was when I bought it, except for that little streak of paint that was on the seat where I'd been painting in the kitchen at one time. So I want to thank you for your response on that subject matter. Now go from that to the subscriptions I've received. I got up over 31,000, and I was anxious to see the numbers keep growing. But the numbers are not growing right now. It may have to do with the season of the year. There aren't many things that you can get excited about in the month of January, except to say it'll soon be over and it'll be February. So it's bothered me a little bit. I don't want you to lose interest in my storytelling. No, I'm not a writer. I'm not an author. Well, yes, I am. I'm an author only in the fact that I have written true stories about my life, my family life, and what I remember in the last 88 years. Almost 88 years. It soon will be. So, having said that, I'm wondering why the people who subscribed decided to unsubscribe. I didn't know you could unsubscribe, but it shows the numbers of the people that have gone from my YouTube channel. And that's okay, yeah. They probably discovered it wasn't the kind of writing or the kind of stories that they are interested in. Yeah, I understand that, because I bypass a lot of things too, because they're not in my interest. I want to keep you interested. I want you to help me get new subscribers. That's where my subscribers, that's not an easy word to say. Your tongue gets tangled again. I want to hold the interest of everyone as long as I can, because I am really enjoying having a YouTube channel. It has brought back so many memories of my own, and I'm learning a lot from you. I am so excited about when someone says, I'm contacting you from South Africa. South Africa. I've never been to Africa. Always wanted to go to Africa on a safari. You know, movies like Out of Africa. Sure, everybody wants to try that one time. Anyway, a safari. Sounds exciting. England, I know a little bit about England, and I can tell you this. I'd go back any day of the week. I got to see Scotland. I got to see Wales. Didn't get as far as Ireland. I probably will never get to see Ireland in person, but I've always wanted to. Italy, another viewer. Canada contacts me often. Australia, I get quite a few comments from Australia. Brazil, New Delhi, India. Now tell me, who do you know that gets, well, I don't know the word to use, that has people from all of those countries contacting them just for the pleasure of talking to each other? So many miles between us, two oceans, two big oceans to cross. I've crossed the Atlantic Ocean, I don't remember, 4, 5, 6 times. Never thought I would do that, but I did. And I recommend it to anybody that can take the time, can afford it, see the world. It's such a wonderful place. Right now, we're afraid to go places. I understand that too. I'm afraid to go places. And I'm getting a little too old to do much travel. Anyway, most of my traveling between my condo and Kroger's grocery store. There's not too many exciting things going on the few blocks that I have to go, but every now and then something pops up that I can talk about, maybe get a laugh out of it now and then. I still think about the young man in Kroger that was trying to help me find the, what was it, the onion rings, whatever comes in that little can that you sprinkle on top of your salads. I couldn't find the shelf. Well, his English wasn't too good. I could not understand anything he said. We stood there going back and forth, and he's pointing, and I'm thinking, what is he pointing at? What he was pointing at was the number 10 above us. That was the aisle where those onion rings were located, and finally it hit me. Oh, aisle 10. Now, that's not a fantastic story to tell, but sometimes you can get a laugh out of the silly things you do. when I bring on things like, here's my thermos. Oh, I've got a new thermos. I haven't shown it to you yet. Friend from Arizona sent it to me. Cutest thing ever was. I won't tell you about it yet. I'll wait until I can show it to you. But I've been carrying this thing around with me everywhere I go. It's always got Dr. Pepper in it. Right now, it's got in it is ice. The Dr. Pepper's gone. Bedtime. But I thought, each time I come up with a new subject, it's a reminder to you. Oh, I had one of those. I remember when I was a child playing in the snow, and the mittens we wore, the little galoshes we wore, and the toboggans we had to put on our head. I remind you of those things, and I'm glad I can do that. So one of the things, while sitting here reading your comments, it's just amazing the stories you were telling me about the stamps from the grocery stores. I thought about the one of my Blue Horse wrappers. Have I told you that story? I was about 13 years old. You know how you could order Dick Tracy things? You could order the Red Ryder rifle. It was a little wooden gun about, 2.5 feet long. But it had Red Ryder on the side of it. And you could send in coupons and I don't know what other things you had to collect and send them in, and then you would receive the Dick Tracy code finder. I can't remember those things because I didn't send in coupons for those things, but I did collect Blue Horse wrappers. Now, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, in my day, when we were getting ready for school in August, you're getting your pencil boxes, your pencils, your pens, your protractors, all those things you were going to need when you started back in the new school year. One of those things was your blue notebook. You had to have a notebook for all that notebook paper. So the notebook paper came in plastic wrappers, a nickel a pack. I think there were 25 sheets to a pack of notebook paper. And it was held together with a Blue Horse wrapper. That Blue Horse wrapper was about 4 or 5 inches wide. Not this wide, like that. Wrapped around, glued on, that held the paper all together. But in the center of that wrapper was an little oval circle, oval, whatever. And there was a horse's head. Now, if you would send in those wrappers, actually you didn't send the whole wrapper. You had to cut the head of the horse out. In other words, that little oval in the middle of that wrapper, you had to cut it out, and you could send them in to the company, and they would send you a gift, depended on how many wrappers you had. So I started saving the Blue Horse wrappers. I asked all my friends in school, when you buy your notebook paper, give me your wrapper. One girl gave me 200 wrappers. Well, actually, she was saving them herself and decided she didn't want to save them anymore. So I had to buy the wrappers from her for a penny a piece. So those 200 wrappers cost me $2. I had to worm that out of Mama. She gave me the $2 so I could have those 200 wrappers. So everybody getting ready for school, everybody's got notebook paper, and they're giving me the wrappers. I sat in the kitchen and I cut those horses' heads out, one after another. Mama would come into the kitchen. There was the scrap paper all over the table, all over the floor. And she was just having fits because I was making such a mess. But I finally collected 5,000 blue horses in that little oval like this. There was the horse's head. That's what you sent in. They didn't want the whole wrapper. So I sent my blue horse heads in to the company. I didn't know what I was going to get. They had everything from bicycles to ball caps to badges. I don't know what all. And they had radios. So every day for about 2 weeks, I watched for the postman. There's got to be a package coming to me. What will it be? Finally, the package arrived. Now, this is the first thing I had ever sent in coupons and things too, because a lot of the kids were always sending things in and getting bubble gum and all that stuff. But I was hoping for a bicycle. 5,000 horses' heads. Yeah, sure. Don't you think that would warrant a new bicycle? I'd never had a bicycle. The package came. It wasn't a bicycle, but it was a tabletop radio. About this big. It's pretty exciting. First thing I'd ever won. Tabletop radio. So we had the great big Magnavox radio that sat in the living room. Had buttons. Oh, that was exciting. Punching those buttons would get you a different radio station. One would be Knoxville, another one might be Lexington, and there may be two from Knoxville, and then you had your local radio station, so you could just punch, go from one station to another. That was fun for kids. So the radio went on the kitchen cabinet in the kitchen. It was the old Hoosier cabinet. You had the pull-out shelf. And we listened to the radio during supper time. That was the radio that Daddy listened to the news every night. There's always something to do with war. War never seemed to end, and Daddy had to listen to the news every night. So we didn't talk at the table while Gabriel Heater was giving us the news. When Gabriel Heater would say, "There's good news tonight," we leaned close to listen. And Lowell Thomas was the other newscaster. We're talking about in the 1940s. That's a long time ago. So anyway, having finished up with the stamps, going on to the blue horse wrappers, I'm sure there are still some contests today that you can enter. I remember going to the service station and getting sets of glasses. Sometimes you got a pitcher, water pitcher with your glasses. And I also remember they would give away punch bowls. I never did get a punch bowl, but I did get 2 or 3 sets of glasses. Never kept them. What I did with my glasses was, my children were in high school, and they had friends who were getting ready to go to college, and instead of living in the dorm, they were living in apartments. Well, that apartment had to be furnished some way, and it was, Mom, do you have anything they can use, put in their apartment? They need things. I would go in the kitchen and I'd pull out that set of glasses that I got at the service station. I said, here, they're going to need glasses. Then I had the dishes I got from the A&P, 4-place setting. That's all I ever got. Courier knife dishes. They're very collectible today. And I'd say, do they have any dishes? Sometimes they did, sometimes they didn't. So I'd give them 4-place setting dishes. I might have an extra pan that they could heat up their peas or the potatoes in. Just the bare necessities, all they needed, because they were in school and they were trying to get by without living in a dorm or staying at home with Mom. They definitely didn't want to live at home with Mom. You know how that is. So, having told you this little story, that connects with the S&H stamps. I'm so glad it reminded you of the things you bought. That will also tell you, don't get rid of those things. Memorabilia is something that makes you feel good. Makes you feel real good when you can look at it and remember where you got it, who gave it to you, or how much it cost. Doesn't have anything to do with the value today. It's what it means to you. So, having told you this, it's time for me to go to bed too. And I've got a whole lot more comments to read. Just before I opened up, I looked to see how many messages I had, and I said, oh my goodness, I've got a whole string of them. So I'm going to read a few of them. Every now and then something pops in my head, I give you an answer. I like to give you answers if I can, but I can't do it for every one of them. It takes a lot of time. Time I do have, but not that much time. So keep contacting me. Ask your friend to subscribe to my channel. They might like some of my stories. And I can always use a new subscriber. Thank you for watching, and you have a good night.